Шановні журналісти, вітання.
Our next briefing is general update on OSCE mission, and our speaker is Alexander Herc, Deputy Chief Monitor of the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, Skype connection from Kramatorsk. Mr. Herc, welcome.
Maybe invite him to.
Mr. Hook, we're ready to hear a report from you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. We can hear you and we're ready to hear a report.
Okay, thank you. I start my presentation now?
Yes, we're ready to hear.
Thank you. Dear friends, today I'm briefing you from Kramatorsk. The SMM has a permanent presence in this town since September 2014. At the moment, there are 117 monitors based here in Kramatorsk. Yesterday, I had a constructive discussion with the Ukrainian and Russian generals at the Joint Center for Control and Coordination in Soledar. Last week, when I spoke to you, I promised I would provide an update on the agreement reached in Minsk on the 3rd of March. You may recall the sides had an SMM-chaired security working group meeting which made two decisions. One relating to mine action and one on the prohibition of live fire training in the security zone. It is of course one thing to sign and quite another thing to implement, and quite frankly, the results thus far on the ground have been mixed. The SMM on 3rd March sent a letter to both generals of the Joint Center for Control and Coordination. We reminded both that the JCCC was in charge of coordinating the measures required to implement the agreement. We asked for a plan outlining their proposals so that the SMM could monitor and report on it. Although far from fully comprehensive, we have had a positive initial response from the Ukrainian Armed Forces representation to the Joint Center for Control and Coordination. Specifically, they told us they had informed their rank and file on the ground about the requirements of the agreement. But there had been no response yet from the Russian Federation JCCC representation. Our ability to monitor this process is of course dependent on our freedom of movement. I'm happy to say that the JCCC has over the past week facilitated access for us on numerous occasions. Our freedom of movement, however, generally remains problematic. This This is particularly so in border areas not controlled by the government in Luhansk region. We did reach the area this week, but our access was conditional. As well as knowing our patrol plans in advance, the so-called LPR often stop our patrols and call ahead before allowing the SMM to proceed. Such conditional access fails to allow for random and unannounced visits. It therefore undermines meaningful and effective monitoring. In terms of stopping live fire exercises in the 30-kilometer security zone, there have been some mixed messages. We have clear indications that Ukraine armed forces are preparing to vacate their training area near Trochispenka on the contact line in Luhansk region. But we have also noted Ukrainian troops training near Troitske in western Luhansk region, which is also in the security zone. In terms of mine action, our monitors noted the fencing off of a mined area around the Ukraine Armed Forces checkpoint near Stanica Luhanska. So far, such cases are isolated. I hope, however, they are the beginning of a wider mine action as outlined in the decisions taken in Minsk. Mine action in the 12 designated areas, however, has been problematic. In one of those areas, between Artyemove and Khorlivka, our monitors last Saturday were monitoring demining and repair work to electricity infrastructure. They were forced to withdraw the area due to incoming fire. On the same day, other SMM monitors were at a water filtration station near Yasinubata. A mortar impacted less than 100 meters from them. There has in fact been a considerable amount of violence in and around Yasinubata. We have been recording regular ping-pong shelling between Yasinubata and nearby Avdiivka, typical of the static exchanges we see all along the contact line. On Tuesday night, however, one of our unmanned aerial vehicles recorded images of unusual movement of personnel on the ground. We have informed the sites that we would deploy the SMM long-range UAV, and I believe this contributed to a calming effect on the ground. Violence has, however,
Втім, хоча ми застосували безпілотник Бойові дії на тій території все одно продовжилися. Вчора безпілотник місії ОБСЄ зафіксував 2 120-мм гаубиці на південний схід від Ясинуватої, що контролюється ДНР. Гаубиці вели вогонь у напрямку Авдіївки, яка контролюється українським урядом. І ми бачили вирви від снарядів цих гаубиць, також концентрація з 35 броньованих автомобілів була помічена поблизу Карла Марксового, яке контролюється ДНР. Ці інциденти є приводом для занепокоєння з ряду причин. Ми вже бачили раніше, як перегрупування сил та техніки на території ближче до лінії розмежування приводило до раптового небезпечного загострення ситуації. Так сталося у Зайцевому та Павлополі, які приходять.
Говори, ти не туди говориш.
Biggest coal-fired plant employing even now more than 4,000 people. Violence in this area not only threatens lives but livelihoods too. I therefore appeal for an immediate pullback. Violence anywhere is obviously unacceptable. But I'm particularly worried about the violence we have seen along the Luhanske-Debaltseve road to the east of Horlivka and in areas around the crossroads in Volnovacha. Both, like the road junctions between Yasinovata and Avdiivka, are strategically important. I mention this as a warning to anyone intending to inflame the situation there. The SMM will pay particularly close attention to these areas. We will not flinch from reporting what we see and where possible listing those responsible for any forward repositioning and escalation. Those of you who read our reports and count the number of ceasefire violations recorded by the SMM will know that violence levels this week are below those recorded the previous week. I wish I could claim that this is good news, that it represents a positive downward trend. I cannot. The lower number recorded this week reflects the fact that the previous week was so unusually violent. On the Sunday before the decisions were taken in Minsk, we in fact recorded over 2,000 ceasefire violations in the Donetsk region. I cannot prove a causal link, but we have previously noted spikes in violence on the eve of the sides sitting down to negotiate. I hope by highlighting this link, we can avoid a repetition the next time the sides sit down together. Violence should have no place at the negotiation table. Dear friends, at the end of my statement, I would like to inform you about the latest mission numbers. As of today, the mission counts 710 monitors, of which 596 are deployed in the east. In addition, there are 288 national staff and 82 other international staff working for the SMM. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. І зараз час для питань. Якщо є питання або уточнення, прошу. All the questions will come.
Ірина Шевченко, Liga Business Inform. Could you please specify you can name all persons who are responsible for ceasefire violations. Who are those responsible for ceasefire violations which you have mentioned in your today's report?
Please specify who was exactly the person who breached the
We will be listing those who are repositioning and cause escalation. We have been seeing in the new hotspots of Avdiivka and Yasinovata that from an area controlled by the so-called DPR, howitzers have been firing towards government-controlled Avdiivka. And we will continue to document in all details possible what we see and what we hear on the ground.
Дякую. Чи є ще запитання або уточнення? If there-
Сергій Кудняков, агенція Манінформ. Mr. Hug, on July 1st, 2014, the General Assembly of OSCE mentioned the violation of all 10 principles of Helsinki agreement on the part of the Russian Federation. How has the situation changed in this respect? Are there any violations of all principles of Helsinki agreement? Thank you for your reply.
think I would refer now, is there any breaches that are still occurring or it's less now? Any changes?
The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission's mandate stipulates that the mission should report on all OSCE commitments. We have, ever since the inception of the mission, listed these observations in our daily reports that we make publish. We have seen, as you know, a reduction of the kinetic activity overall compared to a year ago, which has led, as a result, to less civilian injured and casualties and less damage to property. However, we continue to see that basic OSCE principles continue to be violated on both sides of the contact line.
Thank you very much. Чи є ще запитання або уточнення? And there is one more clarification also in Ukrainian.
On 24th of January 2015, the town of Mariupol in Donetsk region was fired from Grad and Uragan missile systems, multiple launch rocket systems. Your mission worked fast, and at OSCE website we can see the report, operating report about this event, where you mentioned where they fired from which spot. Can you pose the information information that there were Russian military men who fired, or maybe marks about shells, maybe aerospace materials, maybe evidence from witnesses. Could you provide such detailed information for Mariupol?
As the city was under your threats and there was an attack, so your team reacted very quickly and issued a spot report. However, I would like to receive more information in terms of how to find out and confirm that it was the Russian equipment and the Russian bullets, and maybe you have any satellite imagery or you have seen a signal that can verify this fact. I would be grateful for any additional information you can provide.
The material that you have referred to, our daily reports and our spot reports, list the observations that the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission has made with regard to this incident. Should the mission encounter additional observations with regard to this specific incident, we will make them public. The OSCE's policy is to make everything public that it sees, that it hears, and which is triangulated and to a level objective that it stands the test of our mandate. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission monitors what it sees and hears. It does not conduct criminal type investigations into incidents that would require naturally a different mandate.
Thank you very much for that, and I believe there are no further questions and clarifications, and we'll finish here. Thank you very much for your report. Дякую. Запитань та уточнень більше немає, тому на цьому прес-конференція завершена. Дякую і до побачення. Thank you and goodbye.